I'm tired of myself, I'm tired of this town.
Eminent Waste of Time, presented by CW Motorsports, episode 103. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And this one is coming to you live from my in-laws' laundry room.
Really? That's where you're at? I can't see Doug, so you guys don't know that, but...
We just do an audio call through the headset so that we can talk to each other like normal, and then we record each side, and then we just smash them together, which is why you're getting this side-by-side view you're seeing right now.
Yeah.
But the house is kind of busy today, and my recording location is taken, and my backup recording location is also taken, so I have the laptop propped up on top of the dryer, and I'm on a metal folding chair in front of the dryer, and I've got a towel kind of draped over the back of the laptop and the microphone to kind of cut down a little bit of the reverb. It's probably still pretty bad, but...
It's not horrible.
It'll work. This is less than ideal recording conditions, but we're going to make this thing work anyways.
At least no one's doing laundry right now.
No, although
at least
my
I
wife
assume they are not.
She would probably like to get in here and start doing some laundry, but, she can wait an hour.
Yeah. So, that's your current situation where you're at, but there's also news of your current house situation aside from just the immediate.
Yeah, we finally have a place to go. The offer was accepted. It's kind of a long story, and I don't want to get into all of it here, but if any of you have ever dealt with an estate, that's what we were dealing with. So you're trying to get siblings to agree on the value of a house, and at the same time, they have differing opinions about what it's worth because of emotional attachments and everything else. And I'm just looking at it as a house. I don't care that you had great family Christmases there. I'm just looking at what the house is worth.
Yeah.
So we finally came to an agreement and an understanding about what the price should be, and they accepted, and it was kind of a long road to get there, but we're really excited. It's out of all the houses we looked at, it was the one that made the most sense for us, and it's finally done. Well,
it's in the process.
Done. Yes. This week we've got inspection and then an appraisal so that the bank agrees that it's worth what we're going to be borrowing against it, and then we've got to wait for underwriting and all the other loan crap, and we're supposed to close on or before October 8th, but we're hoping that'll be a little bit sooner just because they're not in the house. They're not living there. So as long as the paperwork gets done, there's no reason we can't close earlier than that. So we're hoping maybe like October 1st.
That'd be good.
Yeah, we'd like to have a place to go. I mean, we've basically been homeless since mid-July-ish.
Yeah,
somewhere
or kind of in
there.
Flux anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
like you had a home up into August, or the end of August, beginning of September. Is that right?
Yeah, we owned the place until then, but we moved back up here right towards the third week of July because we needed to get the kids ready for school and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, we've been in a kind of a constant flux now for almost 2 months.
You've been nomads.
I'm ready to have a house again.
Doug the Gypsy Southworth.
Pretty much, yeah. That's about what it's like. But, it's fine. We got a house that we really like for a price that, worked out, and it worked out perfect. We basically sold our house kind of at the top of the market, and in the past couple months since that's happened, the market has actually really slowed down, so we probably got a better deal than we would have if it had been like 2 or 3 months earlier.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Now, the house you guys bought would not be for everyone, I'll say that.
I'll throw some pictures in here. Now, the pictures aren't great. They're the typical realtor, I took this with a 12-year-old flip phone with a dirty lens type of pictures.
Yeah.
And I can't get into the house at this point to take newer ones until we actually own it. So I'll take some and I'll throw the ones that were online in here. It's the best way to describe it is it's built in 1969, updated a little bit in the 70s, and then again in the 80s, and then they stopped.
Yeah. It's decade deficient.
And a lot of it is stuff we actually like, which is probably why we got the house cheaper than we should have, because most people would be thinking, oh, that needs to be redone. But Jenny and I have kind of, we'll call it quirky taste, because that sounds good.
As most of you guys have seen now, because of Doug putting the pictures in here, I mean, I'm not saying it in a bad way that, the house was interesting or whatever. It just wouldn't be for me. but
Yeah.
it's what you guys like, so it's absolutely perfect for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of. They took really good care of what was there, so it's not old and trashed. It's just old. But the layout of the house is really. We weren't looking for it necessarily, but as soon as we saw it, we fell in love with it, and we're gonna preserve a lot of what's there. There's one of the pictures you guys have already seen is the upstairs bathroom that has Dukes of Hazzard General Lee orange sinks.
Yes.
And they're staying. They are totally staying.
I like the blue sink. That one's one of my favorite.
Oh, the flowery one in the downstairs bath?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty special. And then the upstairs, the master bath has those, they're either hexagons or octagons, and they're stepped down to the bottom of the bowl, and they look like they're black. They're actually a super dark navy blue. But everything in that house is just a crazy mismatch of about, I don't know, 3 different decades. But then they quit updating entirely. So.
And then the other favorite thing that I have to mention of it, because I've only seen pictures too, but the mirrored entertainment center that looks like it fell out of I don't know.
It's straight
the
out
70s.
Yeah, it's straight out of the late 70s, early 80s. If you imagine Mike Tyson back in his heyday when he had money, this is something he would have had in his house. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah.
You know what it needs is a big black overstuffed leather sofa. Like that would really complete the look if we were going to keep that in that room. I doubt that's going to survive the call.
Oh, really? I thought you guys were going to keep that one.
Nah, well, it's built around the dimensions of old TVs. So, like, you could put your old 27-inch tube TV in there, but if you're going to put a real TV, it just won't work. So, that's probably one of the few things that's going to have to go.
To fit into Scarface, you need, like, a tiger rug and...
A giant pile of cocaine.
Yeah. That doesn't come with the house?
They didn't say explicitly one way or the other, so I'm kind of waiting to see when we close.
Okay. But it does look like something from Scarface to me.
Yeah.
Mirrored.
It's different.
Yeah. Whatever. It's funny.
No, we really like the place, though. And at some point, once we get in there, we'll have to do a Eminent Performance or Eminent Waste of Time from there. Like, have you come on up and...
Yeah.
The rule with any house, though, is it has to have a Chad room. So this one has space, and we are actually going to be creating a room for Chad when he comes up north.
Are those rooms normally padded, though, right?
Padded locks on the outside of the door, that sort of thing. Yes.
Yeah.
There's a mail slot in there, but that's really for food.
Yeah.
But you gotta have a place to stay.
Sit in there. Yep, I appreciate it.
So pretty soon there won't be any more podcasts from the laundry room, which I know is a big disappointment to all of you.
But you could do the podcast from your new laundry room.
I could, but I'm actually going to have an office because I work from home now, and so that was one of the requirements is that I have an office. And again, the pictures I just showed you, the one smaller room with all the bookshelves and stuff, that's going to be it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got a dedicated, what would they've called it back in the, like a study or a den or something back in the day.
Yeah.
The study,
I have a den in my house. Yeah. I have a den in my house. That's what it's actually labeled on the blueprints.
Is that, which one is that your man cave, or is that the one we used to record the podcast in?
That's my man cave.
Ah, gotcha.
The one we actually used to record the podcast in, which you all are seeing now behind me, it's the same room. That is my office. That is actually the dining room for the house, but we use it as the office. And then.
So what was the dining room that you have a table in?
It was just like a front sitting room or something like that. It was labeled as like a second living room type thing. You know, like the formal living room. I'm not formal people, as I'm sitting here in my neon yellow Barry Miller racing shirt.
Okay, serious question. You've been there about a decade now. Have you ever actually eaten a meal around that table in the what you're using as the dining room?
Yes, we have. We tend to about once a year or twice a year. And not like family things, just like at random my wife will decide, that we're all going to eat in there.
We need to use this space.
Yeah.
Justify having it. I like that.
I keep telling her we should turn it into something else. I've thought very seriously about turning my den into like my own office, since I have some more things going on. I work from home quite a bit with CW and things like that. Turning the current office into like a sunroom that my wife wants.
There you go.
And do something else with that dining room because we don't use it.
No, you don't use it. She gets her sunroom. You get some dedicated space to do your stuff in. I mean, that's kind of a win all around.
We just turned into like the real estate podcast here. You realize
Pretty
this?
much.
Okay.
But circling back to UTVs. No. So from the new UTV news desk this week, probably the biggest news is that there's going to be no more Midwest Short Course League from Lucas Oil. They are canning the series. The rumors have been out there for a little while. I honestly didn't know whether to believe them or not, but Friday the 13th, they gave it the axe, or the machete, or the chainsaw, depending on which Friday the 13th style movies you like. But it was kind of a nightmare for Midwest racers.
It was. It was kind of this. So Lucas rules are super strict for the short course league stuff. I assume all of their rules are strict, down to cage diameter, cage material. You have to have like mesh wire over the like driver's compartment of the front to keep rocks and stuff from kicking up. Like the holes have to be an exacting measurement, and the wire rod has to be an exacting measurement. It's very strict. So the average guy from the Midwest, you can't just go out and race that. You have to have a built and dedicated buggy pretty much for that.
Yeah.
I liked what they were doing. I liked the short course thing, but they only raced 3 locations, and being how strict they were and everything else, you're only going to get the top tier guys that can afford to have just a separate car and a built and dedicated car.
Yeah.
So that makes it tough to me.
Well, and the reason they gave for shutting it down was operational differences. It didn't say specifically financial problems or anything else, but you did get the sense that they feel like it's detracting either financially or manpower-wise from the rest of their off-road racing, which is really more of their focus.
And the problem is all that's out west.
Right.
Most all of that is out west. What I hope they do, and there is absolutely no inkling that they'll do this, but what I really hope they'll do is they'll expand some of the out west series to pick up Crandon and those tracks that are out this way a little bit more, and they'll still use them. It'll just be incorporated into their other series more. Or
if we have any very, very wealthy listeners out there that want to sponsor a EP short course league, just saying, we'd be willing to do that for you. Not for us, for you.
And actually, there's talk of, we won't say who or what's going on because nothing is even remotely firm, but there's talk of some local racers trying to get together with some people that have the property and ground to do this kind of thing and setting up a grassroots short course style racing.
Yes, there's been rumblings about that for a little while, but it would be really neat to see that happen.
I personally would love to do that.
Well, in Casey, Illinois, they've got a short course there already.
Yes, but it's not really set up for side-by-sides.
Yeah, but,
I mean, it would probably be okay for a lot of it. I haven't had my machine out there to really know how the jumps would hit, but
it might be a place to start with a little grooming, and then we incorporate a few other properties, and boom, now you've got yourself a Indiana, Illinois, maybe Ohio or Kentucky or something league.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you do that in like Dirty Turtle, and
yeah.
I mean, I think Crandon would be out of the price range of a grassroots style place.
Probably, but I think there's enough options out there. I mean, we've talked about it before, for XC racing, 100 acres is kind of a minimum for a race of any size.
Right.
And really, it's comfortable if you have more than that, but for short course, you just don't need that kind of real estate. So now, smaller properties are an option.
If you got a 10 to 20 acre track, that's plenty big.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, some of them are on bigger space than that. I get that, but I'm just saying, if you have that and it's set up right, that is a perfectly acceptable track.
Plus, you can race the different classes separately. You don't have them all out there on the same tracks. You can have 800 and then a 900 and then a naturally aspirated and then a turbo class. And you can do it all fairly rapid fire because the races are only 10 to 15 minutes,
20 minutes,
depending. Yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that, generally they'll run like Friday night and Saturday races, or Saturday and Sunday races, or whatever it is. So you can, race on a Friday night and then come back out and race again on a Saturday.
And if you really wanted to, in terms of making it financially feasible, you could even do some quad racing out there as well, because the kind of jumps that work well for side-by-sides also work pretty well for quads.
Yeah, I mean, they make them fly different, but it's not different in a bad way.
Yeah.
Where a side-by-side can't necessarily hit all quad jumps, but a quad can hit all side-by-side jumps.
Exactly. So from a numbers standpoint, maybe just to make it work, you could also have some of that style racing if people want to do it. So it's feasible, and we know people with land that are willing to make a go of this. It just, it's going to take a little time for everybody to put it together, and there definitely needs to be some sort of unifying body that makes the whole thing stick together.
If I just had more time and I was a millionaire, I would set it all up.
Exactly. Can't do anything about either of those right now.
No.
It seems like winning the lottery might be easier than generating time.
Yeah. I would do that.
Yeah. But I get why Lucas Oil canned it. It just is a disappointment, because honestly, I really enjoyed watching that series.
I enjoyed watching it quite a bit too.
And knowing that it was here, I kind of had some plans to go out there and actually see some of them live, but now if we're going to do that, we got to head way out west.
Yeah, well, I talked to Brad Mapes, and I was planning on going in the spring to Crandon with him, because after the weekend after Heartland Challenge, there was a race up at Crandon, and I think they were going up there then. And he asked if I could make it up there, and my schedule just didn't allow. But I said, well, next year in the spring when they do it, I said I'll definitely make sure it's on my calendar and I'll get up there with you guys. Well, it looks like that's not going to happen now.
Yeah.
Unless they have other series that run there. I don't know enough about Crandon to tell you if they have other series run. I'm sure they do, but I just don't know.
Yeah, I'm really not sure as well. I mean, they've got to be doing something, because that track has been around forever, but I just don't know what exactly they're racing. But
yeah,
it's pretty disappointing. But the writing was been on the wall for a while, and I hadn't heard anything official, so I thought maybe we were going to get by. But they pulled the trigger on it on Friday. Official announcement. You can go to Lucas Oil's site and read all about it if you want, but there's not much there other than saying operational differences, and we want to focus on our core racing business, yada yada yada. We're shutting it down.
Yeah.
So
it is what it is. So yesterday, and at this point the video is out. I just uploaded it a little bit ago. Today is Sunday, so the video will have been out for a couple days. But yesterday I got to go over to Illinois to CW Motorsports, and Cody from CW works with a couple other local businessmen, and they do a car giveaway every year, like a actual car giveaway.
Yeah, not a buggy or
right.
Whatever interchangeable word we use for side by side. This is a real car.
So I wanted to tell you guys this because I thought it was really neat. You got these, local businessmen that get together, and I'm not saying that these are brand new or super nice cars. I mean, it's a decent car for sure.
Yeah,
it's probably
it's a good serviceable used
$7,000
car. It's not some junker.
Right. But basically, people submit names and applications for people that they think are deserving of a car, who need a car and don't have something, and they just give someone a car. It's really nice, and they have the local grocery store there. They grill out burgers for everybody, and I mean it's really nice. It was a good time to go out there and good time to see that, and like even the people that didn't win, they weren't upset. It wasn't a competition. People who had won in the past came out, and they were just there to, cheer along everybody and kind of be there for everybody. It was a good time. So definitely check out that. If you guys are interested in donating to that, definitely get a hold of us over at CW, and we can channel that in the right direction. But
absolutely.
So yeah, but I just wanted to let you guys know that was a good thing that we got to do yesterday. So
yeah, no, it's good to see local businesses giving back to the community. So that's awesome.
And I think I can say I'm gonna say it. Let's put it that way. So one of our first new parts that we're putting out, I don't know if at the time this actually releases, if it'll be available to purchase, but we got the prototype knocked out. It's good. We're just checking a few other things, and then we're going to start putting the kits together. But we have developed a kit to go from the 18 or older front fascia on an XP 1000 or XP Turbo to the 19 and newers. So the fang lights.
Nice.
Yep. So that was fun. I got to work on that. But yeah, definitely get a hold of us there. You can shoot us a message on Facebook or email us or give us a call. Might be the easiest way because there's pretty much always somebody manning the phones.
So for people that have been following the CW vlog, is that the part you were teasing? That is the part.
Okay,
I figured.
The funny thing is, so I put that out, and within 15 minutes, I had a guy who wasn't even like a Facebook friend of mine. He messaged me, and he goes, "How much for the bracket?" And I had to play stupid because, you know,
what bracket?
What bracket? And he said, "I know what that bracket is." He goes, "I was trying to make one, and I couldn't get it to work." Is basically what he said. How much for the bracket? So I told him, I said, well, we're still finalizing some stuff. That's been a week and something ago, or about a week ago. I said, we're still finalizing some stuff. I'll definitely let you know once we get it, and you know, we'll go from there. So there's definite need or call for it anyway. I mean,
that's pretty impressive. That's an eagle-eyed viewer there.
Yeah, I was impressed that he knew what it was because I didn't hold it up for more than a couple seconds.
No, you really didn't. You just kind of flashed it. I wasn't sure what it was, so.
Yeah. So, yep, there's going to be more parts coming, but I figured I'd let you guys in kind of like the insider secrets on that one. Ooh. So, if you're looking to, you know, upgrade the front end of your XP 1000, if it's the older style like mine is, and you want to make it look like the newer ones with the fang lights, we're going to have the whole kit that you can, you know, basically just bolt the front fascia on and all that. In the upcoming reasonably near future, we will offer a custom grill option where you can, like you guys have seen my Acre Shaker that's got the Eminent Performance logo and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We're going to offer something like that.
Now, I know you're not all about the look of stuff, so I'm assuming you're not going to upgrade the front clip of the Acre Shaker.
I probably won't because I don't, but I might, just because we're going to have a fascia sitting there. My machine will be used for some of this stuff.
It's true.
So it may just get slapped on there, and that'd be that. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the making things just look pretty. I mean, although my machine looks good, it has to perform well.
Right.
And just a cosmetic upgrade is normally not on the top of my list.
Yeah, your form and function, not just form.
Right. But I mean, I completely see why someone would want to upgrade the front if they have because the 18, we'll say just the 18 to 19, there is no difference in the machines at all.
Yeah.
And if you like that newer look and that's something you wish you had, it's a cheap way to do it, to upgrade the look of it and not have to offload all your parts or take them all off, sell the machine, get a new machine, and then put them all back on.
Sure, absolutely.
You can just get the kit, upgrade the front end, and now you have a 19 looking front end. So,
well, speaking of new razors, there's a little machine out there called the Polaris Pro XP that is generating some interesting likes and dislikes. And I don't know that we've really talked about it too much on the show.
We haven't. We talked about it at after the release, but that was about it. It seems to be very polarizing. Either people love it or hate it. You know, I wouldn't have imagined it would have been like that.
One thing that really surprised me was people are ticked off it's only a 64-inch.
Yeah. And some people are saying I'm waiting for the 72.
Yeah.
I don't see why. I really don't. Because when the 72s came out, I don't know if a lot of you guys remember this with the Turbo S, like everybody freaked out and no one wants a 72-inch machine was kind of what everybody was going on about.
Yeah, because that's 72 inches at full droop. That's so sitting on the ground. That's even wider. It's closer
to it's like 76. I think is about what it is.
Yeah, and so they built this thing. It's got 22 inches of usable suspension travel, which is almost as much as a 72-inch razor. I mean, it's really close. So the main reason you went to the 72-inch wheelbase, at least on the old chassis, was just for travel. I mean, you could argue about stability. It's a little bit wider, yada yada, but they've kind of got the suspension travel thing down with this new 64-inch machine.
See, what I don't get is why some people are saying I'm waiting for the 72. My machine was the quote-unquote 64-inch machine.
Yeah.
Now that's 64 inches at full droop. When I put it on the ground, it was closer to 67. Now with the wheels and tires I have, which are not high offset by any stretch, they are a very standard offset.
Yeah.
And they're just 30 by 10s. It is a very standard setup, actually. I am 70 inches wide.
Yeah, you're there.
So I don't know why people are like, I'm waiting for the other one. I mean,
yeah,
put some wheels and tires on it if you want it a little wider, and you're good.
Yeah. That is probably the biggest complaint that has stuck out to me is I'm not really sure why that's a big deal, but I think people don't quite grasp that this is not just a 2020 slightly modified version of the 2019, XP Turbo. Right. It's really a
different machine.
Yeah. So it's hard to say, well, I'm going to hold out until they do this or that unless you've actually sat in one and ridden in one. Because, it's the same 925cc turbocharged, engine that you've had in the Razors of the past. They've changed a few things, slightly bigger turbo. Now makes 181 horse. So, that's the same-ish. But pretty much everything else is different.
Well, like we talked about with Steve on the last podcast, they've reworked the clutching now. I'll get to the controversialness of the clutching here in a little bit, but who was it? Aftermarket Assassins did dyno tests, and straight out of the box, factory tuned, nothing changed at all. It was putting 154 horse to the rear wheels. That's a lot more. It's more efficient. And then with what they called, and who knows, I don't know exactly what they did. They didn't really release anything, but what they called a mild tune, they were putting 181 or 184 horse to the rear wheels.
So that's something you could do very easily, very low budget, low impact modification, and be over 180 horse.
Right. I think the reality is, and like I talked about several times, mine is roughly 200 horsepower. But mine is 200 horsepower at the crank.
Yeah.
I would suspect my 200 horsepower is probably closer to 150 at the tires.
Probably about right.
So I would say with this new one, they should very easily be able to put it at 200 horsepower at the rear wheels with no major modifications.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if the injectors will stand up to that long, if they need, bigger injectors, but injector swap is easy and reasonably cheap. But I would say with a good tune and a little bit of time, they'll be able to put it at 200 horsepower at the rear wheels without a problem and without a reliability issue.
Yeah, I would think so as well, especially with the new water-cooled turbo, because anybody who has one of the older turbos knows that thing glows cherry red, gets super hot.
Yes, it does.
And so now you've got a water-cooled turbo, which is going to allow you to get even more aggressive with tunes without worrying about the turbo just completely going bonkers.
Yeah. Now, back to the clutching bit. I don't know if it's a few bad ones. I've really only seen two that were actually bad where it grenaded the clutching.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a primaries. But they came apart. Could that be a flawed casting, a flawed run of castings? It could be. They did do new clutching there, so I don't have an answer for that. I haven't seen it in mass yet, so I'm not gonna say the clutches are a problem yet. If it continues, maybe they are, but. And I don't know how these people are treating them. And like the one I saw, they were only speaking Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish, and I don't really know what they were saying. But the machine was very muddy, climbing a mountain and everything else. So did he have that clutch super hot and then splash down into some water, and water got in there and it just shattered it? It could happen. I don't know.
Really tough to say without knowing the circumstance. And like you said, it's a little early to call it a massive defect, but there do seem to be a fair amount of armchair engineers who are already talking about this design is flawed and they'll never buy one. But it's, you get people that say stuff like that without having hands-on. Now, Chad and I have said multiple times, never buy the first year of anything. And that holds all true for the Pro XP as well. I mean, if you want one, go ahead and buy one.
I'm not saying the first year of anything is inherently bad when I say that. But what I am saying is you stand a bigger chance of having that initial bug problem that they haven't quite sorted out.
Yes, exactly. But one of the other things with the way they've got this clutched and the way they've redesigned all that is improved belt cooling, which is one of the big knocks against the older version of the XP turbos and even the XP 1000s that weren't turbocharged. People, in a race situation, in a really hard use situation, they do get hot. And, Can-Am had that solved with the X3, and you could race a machine side by side, or race the machines side by side, and in the same situations, the Can-Am was running cooler. They seem to have gotten that licked as well with the Pro XP, which was a thing they needed to fix, admittedly, especially now that you're pushing more horsepower.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, even mine is hard on belts, and I wouldn't call my clutching perfect by any stretch. It's just tolerable where it's at.
Yeah. Some other features they've got in there, Dynamics 2.0, and they've got the little magic full firm button. So I don't know if you've seen that, but there's a nice X button on the steering wheel, and if you press that, it goes full firm for I don't know, was it 10 seconds?
3 seconds or something
like that.
Well, once you let off, it even stays. But as long as you hold it, it stays firm.
But it is the oh crap button where something comes up quick. You can just slam that button and now you are full firm. Maybe that saves you from instead of being massively unpleasant, now it's only minorly unpleasant.
Yeah. Now, I made the statement when Can-Am released this, and Steve and I did the podcast then, like at their dealer release show. I wished that they had put that button for full firm as more of a paddle on the backside. And I've since... Dirt Tracks, they released their episode on it, and they actually echoed the exact same thing that I said.
Yep.
They wish they'd put it on the backside, and they wished it was some sort of paddle instead of pushing, because the problem is where it's at. If you're pushing that button, we all know in a panic situation you're going to push that hard.
Yes.
And if you push hard, you're now pushing your hand off the steering wheel, and then if you land hard, which you're going to land hard most likely if your death grip is on that button, you could break your thumb. I'm saying it's a possibility.
Well, and if you think about in a panic situation, you grabbing the steering, you tend to tighten up on the steering wheel, your fingers are already wrapped around it. Having a paddle right there to grab just seems logical.
Yeah, you're only going to death grip yourself into a better position.
Yeah. So I agree, that would have been probably a better thing, but, they may even change that around. This is the first run.
Yeah.
So it's really, we're talking about a switch and mounting, and that's something they could easily upgrade if they saw the reason to do that.
I agree. So we'll see.
The chassis is a ton stiffer.
Yeah.
That is a big, big difference. It's also a one-piece chassis now, the frame is.
Yeah. And it's a much lower seating position, which that is probably the biggest thing I'm looking forward to seeing when I get my hands on one.
Yeah. The other thing I really liked, there was a video that has been making some circles that hasn't really been talked about, but if you need to access the engine in the Pro XP, there's literally 4 bolts, and then the whole bed tray snaps out, and the engine's just right there.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to the Double X.
Yeah. In fact, I think they kind of took a page out of that playbook, but I absolutely love that. The fact that you can snap those out, 4 quick bolts, pop the bed entirely out, without taking anything else off. And now you can get in there to service it, or like you said, if you were upgrading injectors or doing any of that kind of work, so much easier now.
Yeah. No, I think that was smart on their side. Yeah. So they are shipping. Some of them are showing up, but as of right now, from what I've been told, it's all only base models and they're called premiums or premieres. One or the other. I can't remember right now off the top of my head.
Yeah.
but the Ultimate, which is the top of the line, are not showing up yet. Cody has one on order, but he has not gotten his yet. His ship date got pushed back. I've heard multiple things. I've heard anywhere from the end of October to next week.
Yeah. I've heard the same. It just depends on who you talk to. So the answer is no one really knows or is willing to fess up.
Yeah, we'll find out when it shows up, and that's that.
So did Cody end up getting a completely loaded to the hilt one with the Rockford audio and all that, or?
He did not get the sound system with it. He didn't. So basically, he got the Ultimate one, but he did not get any aftermarket upgrades, any Polaris aftermarket upgrades.
Because that is one option we didn't talk about, is you can get Rockford Fosgate audio from the factory in there. I mean, you really can get this thing set up kind of with most of the mods people do. You can buy it just as one big package, right? One check, you're done.
Yep. No, he did not go that route because we wanted to basically do our own build on it.
Yeah, which makes complete sense.
So, but for many people, that may be the easiest, best route for them to go.
Now, everyone keeps talking about this as Polaris's X3 killer. That remains to be seen, but I think it's a step in the right direction. And they are not killing off the XP Turbo or, a lot of their other lineups. So if you still like the other style, it's still going to be available to you. I think they're going to serve different purposes, and Polaris recognizes that. So
yeah. So here's my kind of take on, is it the X3 killer? I feel like prior to the Pro XP, you had the X3, we'll say the normal one, not like an RC edition or anything, just a normal XC or X3.
Yeah.
It was, I would say, 75% race and 25% trail riding type of machine. Now, you could make it lean one way or the other by doing things to it, but I'm saying straight out of the box, factory machine, that's what it was. Whereas I feel like my machine and the older, even like the Turbo S's, those were 75% trail and 25% race. Now, you could get them closer to race by doing some things, but that's just how they came out of the box. I feel like the Pro XP is much closer to this 50-50 space of 50% trail, 50% race.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate assessment. They're still not wanting to lean quite as hard into a more of a pure race machine as Can-Am is with the X3, but I think it's a step they needed to take. They didn't really have anything that competed head to head in that market. Now they've got something that's pretty close.
Yeah. No, I mean, it may be closer to like 60-40, 60% race and 40% trail or something. I don't know. I need to get in one and look at it and crawl all around it and kind of figure it all out. But I'm just saying, I think it's much more race leaning than even mine was.
I'll tell you what, I am still waiting, after all this time, for a factory turbocharged XX.
I am too. I wish they would come out with one. I just want them to
build that machine.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden you've got a really interesting three-way battle. If the Pro XP flushes out and looks to be what it presents itself to be, the X3 is already known quantity, and the XX is a fantastic machine. Got an amazing suspension, but naturally aspirated at 125 horse, and being as heavy as it is, it's just not a competitor in the same space.
I agree. Yeah. I don't know why they haven't come out with one. I really don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, the guts are there. The fact that, you can turbocharge a Yamaha and it's just the Yamaha engine, it doesn't seem like it would take a lot to come out with a kit to make that happen, but for some reason they seem reluctant to do so. I'm not really sure why.
I have this feeling Textron / Arctic Cat / whoever is the actual owner of this thing now, they've kind of gone through this like identity crisis, and all the upgrades and engineering of additional things have gotten put on the back burner until they sorted it all out.
Yeah, that could very well be. And you do kind of see that when companies take over other companies. They make a bunch of changes up front because they just took them over, and then they kind of back off for a little bit.
Right. So
because they did sink a ton of money into the design of the XX. That was not the old machine just with a couple bolt-ons. That was a clean sheet of paper.
Yeah. So it's good. I'm just waiting to see a couple things like that. I really thought that, let's see, that one, the XX was released what year? That would have been 20... 18?
Yeah, it was very early 2018 because we went on that spring
Harrison.
or late winter ride with Harrison, and they had just gotten a couple in.
Yeah. So I really expected 2019 or, late 2018 they would release it, but, they'd be called 2019 models.
Yeah.
Would have the turbocharged XX. It didn't happen. They haven't released anything for 2020 yet, and I don't really hear any rumblings about anything coming from them.
No, unless they're playing this extremely close to the vest and are just going to surprise everybody in October. I don't think it's going to be there for 2020 either.
Yeah. I don't know. That I've said it many, many times before, and I still stand by it. That would be on my short list of machines if they came out with a turbo. Because I really like the seating position. But now with the new Polaris, that really kind of fills that void to me.
I still like the engineering of the Double X, though, where all the wheel hubs are the same. You don't need to bring rears and fronts. I mean, so much of that machine is interchangeable. Even the rear swing arms, like the left and the right, are the same. You just turn them upside down.
Yeah.
I really like the way they engineered that machine, and I would love to see a turbo version.
Yeah,
but
I do too, but we haven't yet.
Wish list for Santa this year.
Yep.
I'm sure they're listening. They really want to know what we think.
Yeah. So, well, we are going to be pushing up against the time.
Yeah, it's trivia
now
time.
I have trivia. And it's important.
I'm actually excited about trivia.
You haven't done trivia in a while, have you?
I know. I haven't proved how little I know in quite some time, so...
We'll do that here shortly now. So are you ready for trivia, sir?
Sure. Is it about, pig farts or anything like that, or?
There are no pig farts in there.
Okay.
I even purposefully took out one that was about poop.
Thank you.
It's like I'm growing up, I guess.
Early Christmas present for me, right there.
Yeah. All right.
Let's do
Question
this.
number 1. What was Cotton Candy's original name? It wasn't Cotton Candy, I'll give you that much.
Sugar Fluff.
Nope, Fairy Floss.
Fairy Floss? Who thought that was a good name?
Sounds like a gay bar now.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't strike me as a name you'd want to market anything as, regardless of what it was for. It's terrible.
No. Alright, question number 2. How many flavors of Fanta are there in Japan? You know, the soft drink Fanta?
Oh, yeah. Man, I know there's like 7 or 8 flavors I've seen, just not really looking. Let's go 27.
80.
Holy crap.
Yeah, apparently they really like Fanta over there.
I want to see the whole list now.
I saw a few of them, and there were some strange ones. Like, what does that even taste like?
Like a wasabi Fanta?
No, it wasn't that. It was like, some of them were just, like, it had nothing, no food product listed in the name to make you even have the slightest idea what it would taste like.
I'll have to find the link and send it to you, but you know that LaCroix flavored water that actually doesn't taste like anything?
It tastes horrible.
Yeah, it's really bad because they put so little flavor in it. It just tastes like really gross tap water with carbonation. But there is a website that would randomly generate flavors, and they would be terrible stuff like, kiwi...
Kiwis and hot dog or something.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Just really, really disgusting. Guacamole and, hot sauce or something like that. Just really terrible flavors. It would combine random stuff. So that was kind of amusing, though, because honestly, every one of those I've tasted tastes the same. They're just all bad.
I don't like them.
No.
Yeah, so whatever. All right, question number 3. Fruit salad trees. That's these trees that can grow, like, different kinds of fruit, like oranges and lemons and stuff like that.
Oh, the ones they graft all together.
Yeah, they call them fruit salad trees apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. They can grow different types of fruit, as we just said, but how many different kinds of fruit can they grow at once, like one tree?
11.
Nope, it's only 6.
Oh, darn.
They haven't really been able to overcome this barrier. So
I'm actually 6 is pretty amazing to me because you think at some point it would start rejecting limbs and it doesn't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. 6 though. I mean, that'd be neat.
That is pretty neat. I like that.
Yep.
If we lived in a climate where we could grow anything besides corn, I would try that.
Yeah, well, we can grow soybeans here, too.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget those.
Question number 4. What percentage more broccoli are we eating now than 20 years ago?
Negative 15. Is it actually an increase?
It is an increase, I will give you that much.
Versus 20 years ago.
Versus 20 years ago.
I'm going to go high, like 70%, because there's a lot of broccoli and cheese fill in the blank stuff out there now.
Huh. But amazingly enough, you are still low. 900% more.
What?
Yeah.
That had to be the direct result of a marketing campaign, because anytime you see something like that, it's because somebody came up with a genius idea of how to, like, not a commercial, but just start making stuff and then getting a few people hooked, and then they tell people, and next thing you know. But
yep, 900% more.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So, question number 5. The Cookie Monster from Sesame Street.
Yeah.
What are his cookies made of? Like on the show. I mean, they're supposed to be cookies, but they're not actually cookies. So what are they?
Trying to think about the way they crumble. It wouldn't be foam or anything. Wouldn't be paper mache. I don't know. I'm going to go paper mache because I'm not sure.
It is painted rice cakes.
Oh, that would work. There you go. Yeah, because they just kind of explode when he, quote-unquote, eats them.
Yeah, they just kind of go everywhere. They never... Cookie Monster doesn't have a throat. There's a human's hand in there.
So he's really a health nut, what you're telling me.
Yes.
And he's probably eating broccoli as well.
Well, something's got to add up for that 900%.
Painted rice cakes. Perfect. I'm just going to give those to my kids now. No, it's the same thing.
I actually like rice cakes.
I do too. Like, I don't know why, but they're really good.
Like, I like the caramel ones, the brown sugar. That's what they are, brown sugar ones.
Ooh, those are good. They have like a Parmesan one that's just like a rice cake with Parmesan on it. Those are really good too.
Really? Never tried that.
Yeah.
I may have to try that. All right. Question number 6. Many mass-produced ice creams, like you buy in the grocery store, they're in little containers, contain what ingredient to thicken them up?
And I want to say like cornstarch, but it's going to be something weird because you're asking me.
Right. That's a given.
Contain what to thicken them up? Ethylene glycol.
No. It is seaweed.
Oh, I have heard that before somewhere, now that you mention it.
Yep. That seems strange to me, but...
It's the giant seaweed conspiracy. They want to see their numbers grow by 900%. Not enough people here are eating seaweed. When I was in Laos, whenever we travel, my buddy and I like to grab different kinds of weird local snacks that we don't really know what they are.
Uh-huh.
And they had these seaweed snacks, and so they were kind of dried and salted. I was kind of figuring like dried kale or something like that. Crunchy, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
They were absolutely disgusting.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they were absolutely amazing.
No, they taste... I figured it would have kind of a plant-like taste. It actually tastes like the fish would smell that had been in the back of your fridge for 3 weeks. That's what it tasted like. And the aftertaste would not go away. Like, you could chug water, you could have coffee, you could brush your teeth. It would just hang around in your mouth forever. They were terrible.
You're rehydrating it, so...
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. No. Hard pass on that. Never doing it again.
I'm not a huge fish fan. I mean, I'll eat it. It doesn't bother me, but I don't enjoy the fishy taste and smell.
Yeah.
If it has that, no.
And that's literally all this was, with none of the other redeeming value of fish. It was just a thin, wafery, disgusting fish thing.
Yuck. Yeah. All right. Question number 7. Where was German chocolate cake created?
Belgium.
Nope, in Texas.
Of course it was Texas.
Seriously? By a guy named Sam German. That's why it's called German chocolate cake.
Oh, that makes sense. I've always wondered because it really didn't strike me as a German type of food.
Right. There's no sauerkraut in it.
Well, and the coconut, like, that's not something you typically find in any kind of German cooking.
Right. They just don't. So.
Oh, well, there you go. It's a Texas
Yep.
thing.
Yep. And that I didn't know it was a guy called Sam German. That kind of surprised me. But
Today I learned.
yep. All right. Question number 8. How many pounds of grapes per year does the average person eat?
9.
You're really close. 8.
Oh, nice.
That's half an internet point.
That's the
Ooh,
closest
give you
I've gotten
half
to a
an-
right answer today.
It is. That's why I'm giving you that, so that you don't get 0. At least you got half an
So,
internet point.
so I won't just leave the show.
Oh, look how good you're doing.
Oh, here's your half a point.
Alright, question number 9. How old was the oldest koi fish?
Man, most gold, I think koi, I think of goldfish, which makes me think of bring them home from the fair, they're dead the next day.
Yeah, that's like 15 minutes.
Yeah. We had one that we inherited from my sister-in-law, and that stupid thing was like 14 years old, and we couldn't get it to die. Like we were praying actively because we didn't want to take care of it anymore. It had turned from gold to silver. That's how old this thing was.
Yeah.
So, and that was in less than ideal conditions because it could feel our hate. So, if it was loved and in a good spot, 51 years.
226 years.
There's no possible way that's true.
Yep. I believe it. I've heard it's not uncommon for them to live 100 years.
Well, they can live anywhere. When I was in Martinsville, I had that pond on my property, and it wasn't really a pond. It was a mud hole. You couldn't see 3 inches below the surface of that water, and there were koi in there, and they were fine. And that thing froze solid every year.
Mm-hmm.
They would thaw back out and swim through the mud and be fine.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't kill them, but that's 226 years?
Yep.
That's nuts.
All right, question number 10, last one. What is the fastest moving continent, and how much does it move per year?
Fastest moving continent. I would have to believe that's Australia, and is this in centimeters, inches?
Centimeters.
Okay, I figured. It moves 3.7 centimeters a year.
You get half an internet point because it is Australia, but it moves 7 centimeters a year.
Ooh, I was half there.
Yeah, but the half points for Australia. But you
Sweet.
got so you got 1 whole internet point.
That's actually, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but 7 centimeters is 3 inches or so.
Yeah, roughly.
I mean, when you think about a continent moving.
Right. I mean, it's got a long way to go before it runs into something, but
Yeah. I won't be around to care.
yeah.
Nice.
Is that a dog whining or something?
Yeah, that's the pug. It must be close to dinner time because he does this like rapid whirling around like a top and makes this weird woo sound while he does it.
That's its brains escaping.
Yes. Well, they're already all gone, so. Okay. Well, we haven't been around each other a ton. I don't know if you've done anything stupid lately that I don't already know about.
I thought of one the other day, but I completely forgot what it was. It wasn't something that I did, but it was something that happened around me. And I thought, I need to write that down, and I didn't write that down. I was busy at the time.
We need to get back in the habit of taking notes about your and I's stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we promise you one next time, unless we don't have one, and then we won't give
yep.
you one. So
True.
deal with that. Next show is going to be without me, likely, because Chad is going to be doing a thing somewhere on the planet. Maybe Australia. Maybe he'll be moving with Australia. Who knows? But he's going to be doing the vlog or vlog or video log or however you want to say it style video. And since I won't be with him, it probably makes more sense for him to just do a thing than for me to interject about stuff I wasn't there to witness.
True.
So, boom. And then we've got, what is it, the 27th or 28th? The 27th, I think, Friday? Is that the Powder Puff race, or is it Saturday?
It is... They moved it back to Friday.
Okay, so it is Friday the 27th.
Yep.
And you are going to be...
In Tennessee.
In Tennessee, and I will be out there, so we'll be splitting the difference, and that should be an interesting mashup show when it all settles out.
Yeah. I don't think mine will be super interesting, just because of I'm kind of going there. I mean, the show will be interesting. It'll be neat to show you guys some of what's going on, but I'm not going to be doing a ton of riding. It's a work trip, kind of.
Well, you should make it interesting. You always make things interesting.
There will be something interesting happen. I can promise that.
Fair enough. So we got some different things going on, stuff and things, and hopefully the show after that show, I will be in my new house. I will have a different background.
Hopefully.
I will not be in the laundry room is my goal.
Yeah.
So
with a pug spinning and making noises.
Yes. So maybe the next one will be like a pair of vlogs. I'll do some stuff from the Powder Puff race, and because I am planning on going to that. I actually have to. I have enough time to get down there, do the race, drive back, because then on Saturday I am a band dad for my kids' marching band. So yeah, I got sucked into running sound for them and yada yada. So I have to be there for the whole day competitions now.
That sounds miserable. It's
actually pretty neat, but you have to be a kind of a band nerd to appreciate it, I suppose.
Yeah, that sounds miserable.
Well, we do want to thank all of our sponsors, of course, our title sponsor, CW Motorsports, Watch Communications, who is still, inexplicably, after 2 years, willing to host this entire mess, because we are into September. This is actually our 2-year anniversary. I don't know if it's exactly this weekend or around here, but we're close enough. We're going to call it our 2-year anniversary.
It is this month, yeah.
Yeah, so they're still on board, and you can be on board with them. If you want to host something with them, just go to their site, watchcom.net, and put in the code Waste of Time, all lowercases with no spaces, and, ooh, that rhymed. That will get you 1 free month of hosting for whatever you want to do. Also, if you live in Indiana or parts of Ohio and need better internet than you have, they might be able to hook you up. They specialize in those rural, hard-to-reach areas. Yep. Also got Spanx Fab on board, who will he's probably already making parts for the new Pro XP, but, you know, give him a couple months to get those ironed out. But if you need anything else for your UTV, he is the man to see. And, of course, we've got TGM Off-Road, who... Are they going on a ride or just coming back from one?
They are going on one in the end of October. They just had one about a month ago, and they have another one in the end of October.
That's right. It's going to butt right up into the Southern Mud Riders thing.
It's on the same weekend, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. So go to the Southern Mud Riders thing. But if you can't make that and want to go somewhere a little closer, then you can hook up with TGM Off-Road. If you don't like to ride or don't have a machine, just go for the food.
Yes.
It'll be worth it just for that, I promise.
They have breakfast burritos every time.
Yes. That sounds amazing, actually. And they're like, got chorizo and hot peppers and all sorts of good stuff. And probably whatever was left over from the night before.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
I think anything you throw in a tortilla is instantly better.
It makes life better.
You can find us on YouTube if you just look for Eminent Performance. Actually, you can go to youtube.com/Eminent Performance, because we have like 239 followers now, which means we get to have a fancy name that is all our own.
Our own YouTube.
You can find us on the web at eminentperformance.com, on Facebook, Eminent Racing, and on Instagram at Eminent Racing. You can find the audio version of this whole mess on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and pretty much any other podcast outlet that you can think of.
Yep.
We actually had, we're on Stitcher, but nobody downloads it there. And last month, for some inexplicable reason, 4 podcasts got downloaded from Stitcher. And this month, we're back down to 0. So I get this email. They're like, hey, good job, but they all left. So people probably found it, were like, what's this? Then ran screaming when they actually heard it.
Yep, that seems about right.
So that's been pretty special. Okay, that is all the places and stuff, and this is the point where I'm supposed to have some witty thing to end the show, but Chad, you didn't do anything stupid. And
Oh, I've done things that are stupid.
Okay, well, start writing those down, because we need those.
Okay.
And no matter what laundry room you're recording a show from, thanks for riding along with us.
Thanks, guys.
I'm tired of going down, I'm tired of myself, I'm tired of this town.